on that map. That particular composition came out on Gardens. We are now on Night Market, where it will be Somber Goats for TSL and T1w on the left side playing the Rien Goats.
Yeah, and Raphael is really just going to try to set up hacks here. Gets it onto the Rien. That's a big opening.
Oh, that's a perfect. That is the person you want to hack. Take out the shields. He literally can't protect himself. Has no mobility unless his Lucio helps him out. And look at that. TSL get the upper hand with that hack that Raphael did set up.
That was really, really clutch from Raphael. And honestly, Silver, T1w is a team that should have been composed enough to be able to make that quick swap over on the shield so Silver could cover that. But unfortunately, a little bit too slow on the uptake. Now, 666 Legend, they get control early. Luckily, though, T1w fell out. They didn't give up too much ult charge. That's good. However, Raphael's still very close to that EMP. And as he gets ever closer, that's going to spell danger for T1w.
It's going to be up to High-B to really go for those spy checks. Protect his Reinhardt. You cannot have hacks like that on our Reinhardt happening. Silver knocking one out. 6 versus 5 for T1w as they take control of not only the area, but the fight. TSL will lose the point just as quick as they got it.
Hanging on there. Raphael not able to get up the EMP just yet. Now, we move forward in this, and we will see T1w online with a Transcendence very soon. So what they're going to want to do here, because they don't have the beat at the ready, is make sure that they hide their Zen as best they can. You can see him hiding back up on this corner right now. If he can avoid Raphael's EMP, he could trans in, save them long enough for them to stick in this fight.
This is going to be important. Raphael also has to... Oh, the Transcendence is out, so he'll just wait this one out and then EMP them, but they can't lose the fight yet. There's the EMP, drops right on top of every single member of T1w as the hack even goes on to Silver 3. He is not allowed to play any sort of Overwatch, as now TSL, they move towards the point for the retake, but T1w not giving it up yet.
Not at all, and they're very close to having their sound barrier up, but I don't think they're going to need that or even their grab from Micho, but he's going to drop it anyways.
That's a late barrier, their grab, and also DPS's shield got broken. That was an easy just rollover of TSL. They did get a few percentage points from flipping it over, but T1w now have it.
A back and forth affair, that's what this is so far, but T1w going to be up Supportal, so that's a big, big deal going into this next fight where, you know, both teams at about 50%. So this next fight could really, really be a huge turning point, and who's going to wind up coming away the victor. Even with Raphael at 70% toward this EMP, T1w could come out ahead.
It's going to be Umbra's grab, though, that I think are going to create an opportunity for TSL, but T1w are playing in a very open space. It can easily get nailed. Oh, what a shatter from DPS! Nails every single one from T1w. They didn't even need the EMP. They didn't even need the grab. Now they can hold on to those ultimates to hold the choke.
That's so big because now they can catch them just like you say. You hold that choke. You need to get the flip quickly. You want to hold that choke defensively, force them into that one spot. Then you grab them. You can open things up with an EMP, or you can follow up later with an EMP and start allowing your Zarya to build back to that next grab.
Nice rally and grab, self-destruct. Actually, from the other side, there's the EMP with Raphael. Can they win this fight? The barrier from Illusion comes out. T1w are sustained only for the moment. As Silver 3, they breaks the shield, looks for a shatter, and it's mostly blocked. The Zarya bubble and the Brigitte shield completely nullify that. Now the point is still in favor of TSL, who are looking to even up the score, but they lost Umbra, they've lost their Brigitte, and T1w will look for the flip.
They're going to hang on here. They will get this flip, but luckily for 666 Legend here, they're going to have one more shot. The unfortunate fact of the matter is, though, they're down on economy by quite a wide margin. You're talking about the rally, the Transcendence. You're talking about having Mich's grab there as well to be able to lock them in. They're going to have to push in aggressively just to get to the point, and they're going to get trapped by that grab.
And Raphael is actually, I believe, starting a back cap, so this could maybe take away T1w's attention, but it doesn't seem like so. Misha had used the grab, and he's just obliterating all of TSL. And meanwhile, actually the back cap did not go through, so TSL could not even touch, so the first round will go to T1w.
Yeah, the back cap, unfortunately, doesn't mean all too much if you lose the fight, so you got to go over contest and get back over to the fight and try to see if you can support your team for a victory. Honestly, there wasn't a lot that they could do at that stage. Now, you go over to Control Center. Here's where we expect to continue that solo DPS, you know, whether it be LRC, whether it be Raphael. You would expect maybe, you know, a May here. Sombra wouldn't be, you know, crazy to see at all. especially given they've already played it. But we would like to see a little bit more value out of these EMPs. We haven't gotten too much of that from Raphael so far.
Well, we've seen a lot of Somber Goats from TSL, not only on controls such as Nepal in week 1, but I think it's been working out in terms of setting up around Raphael these EMPs. But what's great is T1w, they're ready with their support ultimates. As T1w over on white side, I believe a hack on through onto Silver, and he gets dangerously low. A moment to engage here for TSL, but they decide to focus on the objective.
Yeah, that's a big opening. Whenever they can get it, Raphael is going to go for that and expose the Reinhardt. That's a huge advantage. You can create an easy 6v5.
Well, lasering away everyone. T1w, they hold on. They don't have a main shield. So DPS, I mean, he could swing away, kind of add extra protection to his team, but it just doesn't seem like they can break through onto the point. And just finally, will T1w get the cap?
I mean, that was crazy that they were going to be able to hold that one out, but they got that pick early on. And yeah, they lost their Reinhardt. They lost that frontline protection, but luckily for them, they were able to take down DPS a little later on and even the odds just a little bit. Now it's about holding on to this lead that they've created for themselves, build into the next thing, and Raphael is going to try to shut that down with the EMP. It's all about being oppressive with this character Sombra here. Hack everybody, deny their ability to use their cooldowns and their ultimates so that you can allow your team to come out ahead in fights that you really don't deserve to.
Well, Silver needs more protection, as there's been several times that Raphael can hack him and take away his shield, and that's such a grocery of ultimates. Oh my goodness, nice shatter from DPS. Gets the pin finish on Milanron. Transcendence from Wyatt, not going to save them, and not having as much value as they would like. They didn't engage off of it, and meanwhile, you got Silver, who is just out of position. Thankfully, High B is there, but the EMP drops from Raphael. They're looking to finish off the fight. T1w are just wiped out, but at least to the silver lining, they did get Shush's Transcendence out.
That one was clean. That one was clean. Yeah, they had to use 3 ultimates to get it, but at least now they have a shot at defending and evening the score a little bit. Once you get into this next fight, you want to make sure that you're being efficient here, because right now you're kind of matched at the moment with T1w in terms of your economy, and you want to keep it that way. And the best way to do that is get your EMP up quickly in this next fight.
We'll see if this grab and self-destruct is what they're looking for to flip the point. Mostly some nice boops to set it up, but not enough. Silver is hacked again. Thankfully, the bear from Illusion gives them some extra cushion for the pushing, but TSL still trades back and forth. T1w trying to hold on to green, see if they can regenerate their cooldowns, but finally starting to ward off TSL, who are all types of split up at the current moment. T1w should get the flip here.
Yeah, that's a quick take back from T1w. They're going to be able to get control once again, and Raphael was taken down pretty early there. I said, you know, 666 Legend, their best shot is building as quickly as possible to the next EMP so that they could get more value and build into a grab quickly. You know, you're not going to have to worry about the shield, but is this going to be... All right, they find Raphael. They find him. He's caught.
He takes back all 6 members, and Silver was just left out to dry. What a play that was set up from Raphael. I'm not going to talk about that shatter from DPS. I don't think we need to. And TSL get the flip back, and now they can concentrate on holding the choke.
Now they definitely want to hold out. Raphael had to kind of take his exit in that one. That's a big opening pick, though. Sober taken down. This is a huge opening now. They're really going to have to rely on their Zenyatta to keep them in this fight.
Oh, it's in! Hybe, big play! It's big play after big play for T1w. That pick, the Transcendence, they just roll over TSL. They seem to be winning these fights so convincingly and so quickly.
Now it's all about just maintaining your composure. You can win this last fight. You have the tools, and you deny the ability to start the fight with the EMP.
Where are you at, though? Oh my god. TSL, they have an EMP, though, and since T1w is all stacked up, this will be a good play.
Yeah, well, he's back there safely, too. They can't push to him, so he's going to get off a lot of pressure. He could find more picks this way.
Oh, the grab starts from Misha. The self-destruct, can it break through the defenses of TSL? Seems it has not, but meanwhile, the fight was taking a little bit too long. T1w will take both rounds of Lijiang Tower to start us off.
I remember, this is a team that, sure, they struggled last week, but historically, they're strong. They've consistently been strong, so this is kind of a return to that former form, it seems like, against 666 Legend, where now they're really able to kind of show out, able to dominate this opponent, and 666 Legend even, I think they're just having a little bit of a rocky start. They need to make sure that they kind of pull themselves back up, rebuild their morale a little bit, keep their heads high, and move into this next map and see what they can do.
Speaking of a legend, we'll bring back LaFon, our analyst, our expert of the day. How's it going, pal? What did you think of that first Lijiang?
I think it's interesting to see the compositional differences between the two teams, right? Between T1w and TSL. They're running the Sombra Goats, right? Which is pretty bad in a neutral fight, unless you're getting the hack off, right? And T1w recognizes that. They recognize that TSL is not really set up for extended fight on point. They don't have the damage mitigation because they're running the Sombra. And honestly, if Raphael does not build the EMP quickly, he becomes more of a liability than an asset. And I think in the early stages of Night Market, he was, you know, a little bit more proactive. He did get that initial hack off, of course, on the Reinhardt, preventing, you know, the shield from coming up. So DPS was able to just walk through Silver 3 and, you know, take that first point victory. But after that, T1w recognized their win condition. You just run at the team that's running the Sombra, and then you have no defense whatsoever.
And the Zarya versus Zarya matchups, I think we saw a Grav or two eaten. Again, are you thinking it was just a bad setup from the Zarya, or are you thinking these divas are really trying to read these Zaryas like a book?
Bit of both, actually. I mean, the divas has just gotten a lot better at eating graviton surges, and I think Heurix can agree with that a little bit. But I think also it definitely does come down to the fact that Umbra playing a little bit too aggressively, a little bit too awkwardly in his usage of the Zarya, and has kind of thrown the Gravs away. But no, it's good defense for both.
Yeah, it's definitely an expanded skill set now, right? Because, you know, you take it from a 1-second window to a 2-second window. There's a lot that needs to go into it in terms of mind games to be able to actually cancel the grab now. It's a lot more difficult, especially as teams are progressively getting closer and closer to having better communications in regards to enemy DM. So I think as we move forward, it's going to be much harder to get it. And when teams are able to do that consistently, it's absolutely nuts.
Well, it is 1-0 for T1w, our past season champions, but we will see if TSL getting a little warmed up as we go into map number 2, but we will be right back after this short break. Welcome back, everybody, to Contenders China, our final match of the day, but we got tons more Overwatch to cover. T1w past season champions versus underdog of TSL, a 1-0 lead for our champs after Lijiang Tower. But I believe we are going into King's Row next. More bag of surprises of compositions, possibly.
Possibly, or they could just go right back to Sombra. I mean, that is something that we've seen quite a bit. Even, you know, going up to the Overwatch League, it seems like a lot of teams have really liked the Sombra in that setting. And, you know, you go into those confined spaces, you can find a lot of value with the EMP. There's not a lot of easy points to, you know, pull back into if you are a defending team trying to get away from an EMP. So I think it's actually really likely that we even see the Sombra come out yet again. But what I would like to see if it does come out is Raphael getting a little bit more value alongside the rest of his team to execute upon the value that he can probably find with the hacks when they do come out. You know, well-timed, well-communicated, and then well-executed upon when they find them.
Yeah, and LaFon was criticizing, like, you know, what is this? Does he have a good uptime for his EMPs? I thought he's been having some nice those hacks onto silver to kind of open up the shield. If you can get rid of the Rien, then that's a big opportunity for your team to engage with whatever damage you'd like. I think Milanron will be the one that pulls out the Sombra. If T1w decide they want to match that, they don't seem to be having too many problems as they won Lijiang Tower. But T1w also have many other options, such as Double Sniper, and Ash Junkrat. Of course, Goats is more common for King's Row, but I'm excited to see if T1w are going to spice it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's Chinese Contenders, right? It could always be something
can
different.
happen.
A betting man would go into this and say, we're expecting, you know, triple tank, triple support, very likely all the way through, maybe a Sombra from 666 Legend. I think that would probably be the betting man's choice. But the betting man never gets what he wants in Chinese Contenders, ever. So,
well, we just saw Reaper Roadhog in the last series.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but T1w, you know, last week they played on Gardens and they played Hammond, Roadhog, Sombra, Ash, Mercy, Zen. So that is not a composition that you're expecting to see literally ever. So as we move now onto King's Row, it's anybody's guess what we're going to see from these two teams. Again, betting man's choice would have T1w running the 3-3, 666 Legend probably running a 2-1-3 with a Sombra to actually go for probably their attack and defense if you were betting.
If you were betting, if you wanted to lose money,
you were betting.
For
if
maybe
you wanted to lose all of your money and blame me and unfollow me on Twitter and berate me in my Twitter DMs, yeah, exactly. You do that every day.
So what kind of sucks for TSL is I think they're having a rough first 2 weeks. In week 1, they had Billy, BLG, Hangzhou Academy. That's a tough opponent to go against. 4-0 lost there. And now they're going up against former Season 3 champions of T1w. I think once they get these raid bosses out of the way, we might potentially see TSL climb back in the rankings.
So here we have Hybe actually on the Sombra to match Raphael's. It is going to be Sombras on both sides. So this is going to be, you know, all about communication here, all about setup, timings that's going to come out there. Big opening.
Wow, big opening. Umbra somehow kills himself. That's not a great start. Accident. Oopsie. There's a lot of dancing going on over there. I'm getting a little dizzy. But Hybe will be on his high ground, and he'll be the one scouting out. It's interesting because I had just said Milanron was the one who played Sombra in week 1, so they'll be giving Hybe that role, who's usually the diva player.
Yeah, and remember, they don't have a diva on either side, so there's no one to easily contest Hybe up on top of this statue to actually do anything about these hacks.
You can just yeet that from across the map, but look at this oppression. TSL are a little bit low, but they managed to take advantage. They gotten 2 kills. They move on to the point, and Shush is popping off, so there's the point for TSL.
They're just going to walk right on through, and Hybe not quick enough with the hack, and they actually got the turn there that you would have liked to have seen from Silver back on Night Market, but this time around, 666 Legends taking advantage here, and Raphael getting the better end of the deal and very close to an EMP as they go aggressively forward, trying to take a fight in the streets phase as Shush right now starting to move that cart forward a bit.
But I do like that T1w are matching that Sombra. They add that extra winning condition. That what else can a diva do when your self-destruct can't always guarantee you a combo Big Bang play? So why not add the EMP, which can most of the time be successful if you aim it right at least. TSL drop their EMP first. The Transcendence though from Wyatt comes up, keeps most of his team sustained except Illusion.
Oh, we're gonna see them putting pressure onto Hybe too. So not only is T1w actually forced to pull out of this, it's gonna just be free cart movement for TSL. They're just going to slowly push on forward, keep that pressure high so T1w can't get back over to the cart and actually contest it. So this is really nice for TSL. They're going to be able to keep uncontested, you know, just pushing this through. They're only going to have to take 2 fights in the street phase to be able to actually close this one out.
Oh, there's the EMP that could be coming in from Hybe. Could be also combined with Silver's Shatter, as long as they don't get counter-grabbed by Umbra or any sort of support ultimates that could come out to just go up against this upcoming EMP if they stay out of line of sight. You can see Hybe is looking for it, hasn't maybe gotten an eye on all the... where is the Lucio? Where's the Zenyatta? If Hybe doesn't see them, he might not want to go for that EMP.
Oh, good hack onto Umbra. They can't aggressively start up this next fight the way they want to, and that's a nice Shatter!
Well, that's a guaranteed double kill finish off there. That's the fight over for TSL, and that's a really nice hold from T1w.
Really, really nice setup, though, from Hybe, because here's the thing. When you take the one thing that 666 Legends wants to instigate a fight with, which is the Graviton Surge, to start it the way they want to, group everybody up from T1w, you take him out of the fight with the hack, then you slam him down because he can't bubble himself while he's hacked, right? So easy fight win for T1w, and it's just with those 2 setups that it came together.
And they still have leftover EMP and support ultimates, so T1w will have a challenge up ahead because they have a grab from Umbra. There it is. EMP though counters though from Hybe, so not really the fight 666 Legend we're looking for. They did use a barrier. Shush died with Transcendence, a little bit less sustained there, but it's back and forth between these 2 teams. But you gotta kill Michia, who's just so high energy, lasers away the rest of TSL, and that will be another defensive hold for T1w.
Again, another just stellar play from Hybe, shutting things down early with the EMP. Raphael can't really commit to anything immediately because he was forced out of the fight at the very beginning, so his EMP came much later, and already T1w had all the control in that fight. So now they're really in the driver's seat here. 2 minutes left on this second point defense, and they could really get the ball going right now.
How are they going to get this ball rolling? It's maybe Silver 3 opening up with a Shatter, so TSL have to be careful how they walk in here. Rally from both sides. C slams it down, catches a few. They tried to go for the stun play out to DPS, but it was not successful. TSL sustained for the moment. They still have Shush's Transcendence. He uses it to sustain his team in the grab that Michette just thrown, or did just throw, as he drops in, or Umbra drops immediately after that. And T1w, because of all this momentum and snowball that the Goats comp creates, they just have not let go of this defense.
You gotta love the pivot that T1w has taken. 666 put a lot of pressure onto Silver when they bring out this Sombra. T1w, on the other hand, recognize the importance, the impact of Zarya in this phase of the map specifically, and they are continuously taking Umbra out of the equation. They're throwing every hack at the beginning of each fight onto Umbra so that they don't have the ability to throw a projected barrier that exposes DPS more than a hack would, and they can take him down easily.
EMP, speaking of taking down, Silver just shatters the entire team of TSL. Shatter plus EMP equals death, and there was no support ultimates from TSL to even react fast enough to help them.
I'm sorry, but this Sombra play from T1w, I mean, it's just so solid. You can tell the communication is, you know, as good as it needs to be able to take down anybody in this region. They are playing so well together, but a big opportunity coming up for 666 to be able to fire back. They have the EMP to set up. There's not as much to fire back with, and they could build into a graph here.
Oh, we got a bit of a replay. The spicy EMP and Shatter slams it down. This was such a beautiful play, and we get to see it one more time as we head into our next fight right in the middle of the action. Umbra's going to hold on to the grab. They already are up by 1. They've taken out the main shield of the defense. Bit of an investment of the barrier considering they're up 6v5 and a very important kill onto Silver. They get to the meters away from point B. They get caught into a grab from Michia, but is the follow-up necessarily there? Trades back and forth. 666 Legend in overtime. Can they finish? The kills come out ahead. T1w have not given it up yet. Illusion got hacked, but unhacked. He now uses the barrier to 1v6 the entire team of TSL and does keep his Reinhardt alive only for a few more seconds, but TSL will secure point B.
If they didn't kill Silver there, somehow Illusion was able to hang on. They would have had such a big advantage from respawn distance to be able to get back into that and shut down 666. So really good stuff from TSL to be able to close that out. Now they have another shot to get through the rest of this map, and they have to continue this momentum that they have right now, get around this corner as quick as possible. But there's the EMP from Hybe.
I thought Umbra just dodged it. So hey, EMP, we're just gonna press the S key. We're gonna let you guys have your ultimates, and we're gonna try this again one more time.
And the way that they're gonna do that is you gotta kind of play slow here. You have 45 seconds left. Realistically, you only have one more fight, so you have to make sure that it's the most ideal fight that you can possibly take. Build up the rest of Raphael's EMP, get into some high ground, make sure that you catch their supports as well, and then just push.
You gotta push with this EMP. Raphael, he's just a few more percentages away. Come on, man, hurry up. T1w, they don't have the support ultimates yet. Raphael needs to pull the trigger up from the high ground along with the grab from Umbra. You don't usually see those ultimates layered on top of each other unless you're trying to take away the main shield. But hey, the job is done. Everyone from T1w is dead. 10 seconds left. TSL still have to finish the map.
Huge play, actually, from Milan Ron. He's going to be able to give his team a lot of time to come back. He staggered on the payload and contested it, so they're going to be able to get into position and contest this.
And Michi is coming back with Grav, and they need to keep him alive. He needs to build this energy to just output the most amount of DPS that they need. Milanron came back as Honest, even to deny some of the healing of TSL. They're going to have the Transcendence, so having a perfect anti-nade will be big for T1w. Michi throws the Grav, but TSL are starting to drop. Half their team are dead. They won't be able to finish this map if it keeps up. Great defensive hold from T1w once again.
All through that stage 2 defense. That was so good from them. Playing off of the Sombra over and over again. I mean, it was like clockwork.
Clockwork, lafon. I can't believe this defense from T1w. It looked like TSL had it in the bag.
It was pretty close. I think one of the reasons why T1w is kind of taking that last fight win is kind of how they're setting up the Sombra. This is a tale of two Sombra Goats teams, right? Raphael can't really get in the back line. Waya is always peeking him. He's always holding that right click charged up, so he can't really get into farm the way he wants to. He has to take a ton of damage, a ton of spam. And on top of that, the way the supports are playing against Raphael means that he has to make really bad choices if he wants to get energy built up. He's doing a relatively good job despite that, but then the EMP setups become a lot tougher. Counter that to what T1w are doing, and it makes it a big difference. That's the difference in the matchup right now. Supports are the tail of the tape when it comes to setting up the Sombra in terms of how to protect against her, and T1w do a better job of that at this particular moment, guys.
Well, thanks, lafon. And I was a little concerned with Umbra and Raphael layering the EMP and the grab on top of each other. If they would have just saved one of those, I felt like maybe they could have taken an early lead in the next fight to finish the map.
Yeah, I mean, layering of the ultimates, and especially with EMP setups, it's always going to be a big question mark, because sometimes you do need that extra little bit of lethality to be able to find those kills. But the best teams that are going to be running, you know, the Sombra styles are always going to be the ones that are going to be able to pull things off with just the EMP. So 666 falling a little bit short on that, but they have another shot here. Defend. If you can stop T1w early, you can still take King's Row.
And T1w bring back the D.Va, Hybe not on the Sombra. They realize the self-destruct pairing up with Micha, and also spy checking Raphael, and just the overall damage mitigation a D.Va offers. Maybe the value they're looking for instead of a Sombra.
Yeah, to be able to contest Raphael is a big thing here, but also be able to peel for everybody so that the rest of their core can stay up for a very long time.
Yeah, just deny the hacks that Raphael can do, and look at that, T1w, they step onto the point and they claim it, they put their name on it, they got it tattooed, everything. And you can see Raphael only 40 on EMP. That means he really didn't have much of a presence in that fight.
They're going to be able to take this just as quick as TSL took it and start pushing through the archway. And yeah, I mean, without Raphael in the mix here, kind of denied a little bit in that last fight. If they can force him out over and over again, force him to use his translocator before they take an engagement, that's a 6v5 advantage effectively that they made through artificial means, and they have the D.Va impact as well. So we're going to go do a quick break real quick while we figure out some technical difficulties here. We'll be right back. over.
Apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're right back into the action. You did not miss anything because T1w, hey, we got plenty of time. They got 4 minutes of some to finish the map. The yellow box of victory is right around the corner. There's the EMP from Raphael. Drops in the face T1w. There is no support ultimates, and well, they're hacked anyway, and there you have a TSL hold another defense.
Well, TSL hanging on for now as they have finally made a stop here. 4 minutes still on the clock, though. While we do just come back, and we can look across the board now and see basically where we're jumping back into. And 666 Legends, they're in a really tough spot right now, getting off a nice hack to start off the fight, but that's not going to be too much here. Hybe's going to be able to easily get back out of this, and T1w just kind of biding their time, setting up, trying to build as much as they can. They're going to have a lot in this next fight.
Yeah, TSL could easily engage first exactly with that Graviton, but Hybe tries to counter with the self-destruct, doesn't zone them out the way that he wanted to, and what a stun onto DPS. He gets dangerously low. The shatter comes down and it catches Silver. That's exactly what TSL wanted. No main shield for T1w means it's just not safe enough to engage, but they decide to throw out the Michia's Graviton anyway, but Shush's Transcendence kept everyone alive for the defense.
So T1w, I mean, they had a lot of stuff stacked up there. They're still going to be aggressive here. They're still going to want to push back in. They will be met by a grab. They will be met by an EMP. They do have, I mean, TSL still has the beat as well, so they can ward off T1w in this next push. So if T1w wants to do anything, they have to continue this aggression and force those ultimates out now.
Oh, an EMP drops into the back line of T1w. This is perfect. It even got Illusion, who had Barrier, so they just can't sustain. They can't do anything against this EMP. So great setup from Raphael, and they're going to have Umbra's grab for next fight. This is looking really solid for TSL.
Well, for T1w, on the other hand, they've got all of their support ults coming up, including the rally. And that should be long enough for them to build the combo. They want Michia's, Hybe's as well. Be able to throw that out, be able to find the kills, because 666 Legends, I mean, they look to be able to be poised to take this.
The grab from Umbra does come out. Transcendence from Wyatt keeps T1w alive for the moment. Silver tries to swing away, break down the defenses of TSL, who just are waiting to use their support ultimates, but they've lost two. Why isn't Sober or Shush using anything to save their front line? You've already lost your main tank. T1w, yellow box of victory around the corner. Someone needs to contest from TSL. They use the barrier, but they're getting blown up from a self-destruct, and the yellow box of victory is achieved. T1w will lead the series 2-0 over TSL.
Yeah, and they just ran right through that as well, you know, straight from that first point, right through the street's face, had plenty of time to work it for that last stage of the map as well, and they finally got it done.
Well, LaFon, T1w look unstoppable at the moment, but did you see glimmers of hope there on TSL's defense? They look like they held that for quite some time.
Yeah, they had good ult rotations, I think. Just a little bit unlucky, just a little bit messy, and T1w is going to punish that every day of the week and twice on apparently Saturdays. It comes down to the fact, again, Raphael, I don't really want to be, beleaguer him too much because he's kind of struggling, but he is absolutely struggling. Every time he goes in for that backline, he either gets taken out or is forced to translocate, and as Heurix mentioned on cast, that becomes a 5v6 artificially, and without that 6th player, then you just can run over them with your more healthy goats when you're running the 3-3 with the diva. So I feel like TSL, there are moments when they're setting up the combos where they're using ult rotations properly, but then it comes down to Raphael just getting pressured out because he's unable to really he's taking aggro before his team is available, and then he's unable to really continue the fight as a result. So yeah, the EMP uptime is good, but if you're not alive to use it, it doesn't matter. And I think for TSL, that's definitely been an issue for them so far.
Yeah, and at the top of the broadcast, you mentioned and you brought up execution as a key word to look out for these matchups and everything. And I think that's really what it comes down to, right? Just like you were talking about, Raphael, you have to, if you want to be able to set up a play, you have to make sure the team's there to follow up. And if they aren't, well, you're not going to get much done. And that's, I think, why we also see a disconnect with the EMPs as well. There's just not enough follow-up when those go out. So they are forced to use things like grab to actually find the kills after.
I felt like TSL, my issue with them has been these 2 support ultimates they had left over. They were not able to save their Rien, and I felt that's how they got crushed in the final defense. But Silver has been a silver lining for T1w. The EMP and the Shatter replay that we get to see again, just perfect.
And there we're going to see another one, actually.
Yeah, another one.
There comes the EMP down the backline. Silver 3 going to swing away. I think speaking of main tanks, Silver 3 has been very impressive, but I think DPS is much improved from last week. This is a player that was just kind of a struggle in terms of what he was running. They were running Hammond Goats. You know, I mean, Ameng runs it in Owl, but there's a very specific reason why they do that. Here, it almost just seemed like DPS was just running it for the sake of it last week. Now, he's playing the Reinhardt. Yes, he's being out of position a couple of times, but ultimately looks pretty solid. I would say he's holding up to Silver 3 relatively well, even though I think Silver 3 is getting the better end of that deal. So tank play today has been just improved across the board, and I'm happy to see it.
And I'm also can't wait to see how our third map of Lunar Colony is going to go. T1w is up 2-0. We'll see if they can close it out or if TSL will start the comeback. We'll see you guys in a bit. Welcome back, everybody, to Contenders China. We're back after the half, and T1w are still up 2-0. That score's not going to change. But week 1, I mean, they're actually not at the top of the standings after a Game 5 win over LGD. But TSL, I think Heurix, we talked about, you know, they kind of have 2 raid bosses in the first 2 weeks. I'm sure TSL will come back from this.
Yeah, they should be able to bounce back, and certainly it could start right here. I mean, there's still opportunity for them to get back into this series and turn this all the way back around. I mean, it's going to take a lot, I think. You know, we still see them forcing that solo DPS. So far, it has been solely Sombra from Raphael. We could still see other things. We could still see, you know, like the McCree, the Ashe, you know, other looks that we've seen from them, as well as new things, as we can expect as well. But they can definitely bounce back from this.
And TSL, absolutely a team now. We're going into, was it Horizon Lunar Colony that I said? My memory lacks me. But they're, like we said in our previous series, the DPS can definitely rock out on Junkertown. We've seen TSL run Junkrat. We've seen them run Ashe. Everything that can be so amazing on on Lunar Colony defense. We saw in our last series that we casted, a full hold almost happened with that comp.
Yeah, they did very, very well. And even when they win over to that second point, if they can really get back quickly and make sure that they don't fall into the same trap that we saw in our first series of the day, where, you know, you're giving up too much momentum and not getting back to the point or dying on point, so that you can actually have the opportunity to get your respawns and get back together as a team and everything. But, you know, definitely Horizon could be a trap map, and 666 can actually take advantage of that and take down T1w here and get a foothold in this series and turn things back around.
Absolutely. This is going to be the map where the comeback starts, where T1w will close it out. Well, we still go to a 4th map, but they will be then 2-0 in the standings, and TSL will drop down to 0-2. See if the comeback will start here. And like I said, this is a map that favors DPS, especially long range, Ashe Junkrat stuff that TSL has done before. But I mean, was it Billy kind of surprised us? They have only run goats before, and they also brought out DPS. So T1w easily able to bring out Assassin or Michia on these, or even Mulanron on these DPS roles.
Yeah, because at this stage, you know, we don't have a sizable, you know, sample size, right? There's not a real big pool of expectation, you know, what to expect from these teams in terms of what they're going to run, because we've only seen them in 1 game so far. So as things progress, as things continue, we'll have to see what they want to do. But no surprise here, 666 Legends, they've got Raphael back on the Sombra, still playing the same composition. Obviously Sombra highly effective on this map. You can do a lot of things with it, but aggressive drop here from T1w.
Aggressive, and they do get a hack onto Silver. Again, this guy is constantly the focus of attention of Raphael, and you would think that would be a 1 fight for them to just collapse on top of the free Rien that can't do anything but swing, and it doesn't. Finally, they do take care of Silver and Illusion, so 666 Legends step onto the point. T1w, we ready to engage again.
Well, they do have the ability to drop from high ground. They can just kind of stall out for a little bit, but they lost their brig, and their Zarya's hacked.
You gotta just die on point. You see I think there's a Lucio trying to, or no, that's the D.Va trying to get away. So this could easily form into a snowball. That can just an avalanche that goes to point B. And TSL didn't have to use any ultimates. EMP and Grav are possibilities coming up.
Yeah, they got trapped. This is the trap map. You can't fall victim to it. We're gonna see the EMP. We're gonna see the Grav, just like you were saying. They could use those in combination and just solidify the fight. Well,
so
that's not how you do it.
Well, that ain't it, Chief. So we'll try that one again. But they have the EMP up next. They take care of Silver again. If you take out the main shield, there's so much less damage mitigation. T1w are just collapsing as soon as they lose their main tank. TSL, the avalanche starts with 2 takes, 6 minutes and 23. Wyatt tries to come back with the Transcendence. He almost kind of stalled it out a little bit more, but what a showing for TSL on this.
Yeah, ideally you want to make sure that you catch the Zenyatta as quickly as you possibly can with the EMP, so we can't Transcendence onto the point and then Vuln stall that one out. So it seems like, you know, they didn't need to do that, thankfully for them, but Raphael could have caught that with the EMP.
In our first series of the day, we saw, was it a record-breaking 2-cap on this map? And this is another fat time bank of 6 minutes and 23. LaFon, what is going on with these defenses? The TSL completely turned this around.
It's just a straight up lack of understanding the snowball. You put yourself in a really bad position. You die way too late. And then on top of that, you just end up not able to get back in position for second point. You mentioned Raphael had the EMP, they had the Graviton Surge, they didn't have to use resources on point A, and all of that leads to just a snowball effect onto point B for these speedrun captures. So HLC Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, and this time very much the lights got turned out with the EMP coming online.
You can miss a grab and at least you got a second option, but why did T1w, they lost their Rien, why did they take so long? I get giving up a tick, but why did they all just wait there and watch get point A captured?
Well,
all right, then
I mean,
Heurix.
from there, all they did was they were just trying to stall out, see if they could actually get the drop down on them, and, you know, by waiting all that time, just as lafon was stating, they weren't, you know, contesting the point. They were getting that flip very late. They died super late, so they weren't able to get back together. So as we get back into the game here, T1w now on an attack of their own suffered a devastating loss there. 623 in the time bank for
later.
666, as we see T1w probably switching up to the Winston here, if not maybe another swap, and actually a lot of them going for the EMP Nano Blade setup here for T1w.
I'm liking it, and I'm liking TSL strat. The Junkrat Ash was what we were expecting. Wasn't expecting the far on top of that, but now you just got so many projectiles from all angles. Michia, who is he going to be going after? He could easily get trapped too from Raphael, so he has to be very careful how the entire team dives.
Yeah, interesting that Shush is actually playing the Pharah here, and they're playing solo and a support. Now they have to deal with Mulan Ron, but as things get traded back and forth, Ash taking the better end.
LRC has been the one that TSL will base their comps around. He gets two, but T1w have already started the pain train, and that pain train's pretty hard to keep up when you have a solo heal Ana, as you mentioned. Usually you see a solo heal Mercy, because at least you can fly to the different targets and at least res one if things get a little hairy.
Not only that, possibly even more importantly, you can actually self-heal over time. Ana can't do much of that, and she goes down.
Oh, there's some nano stuff going on. It's tanks versus tanks. Silver's got the bigger fist, but he's got a bigger bob, so you might want to hop out of that one. Bubbles it just in time. Back and forth between these two teams. T1w looking for the cap. Finally, Silver brings out the primal. He's going to nail LRC against a wall, and that will be point A. And they'll have the blade and EMP, but not a nano since the Ana's gone.
Yeah, that's why it's always scary to run the solo Ana. You know, you have to use probably one of the best cooldowns in the game just to heal yourself. That's not ideal. So they're going to swap up their composition just a little bit here. Still going to have the Sombra, still going to have the Ash, but otherwise getting a second support on the board for them on the table. But T1w, they have now built towards this combination, this tandem of ultimates, the EMP Blade.
EMP Blade, well, wait out the Bob first. EMP actually nails Bob, and now he is no longer functional, and now you got a Blade towards the back on top of that EMP, and it's a 2-for-1 trade. You got the Blade that can pop off, and you got rid of a very powerful ultimate of Bob, and with that entire cleanup, it's still another speed run, but minus a minute. T1w looking for their final tick, as TSL will just stall at this point.
Oh, they put down the wall to prevent the Diva Bomb. They're still going to try to stall this out, but I don't think this is going to work out.
They can take as much time as they want off the clock. It's been a good 10+ seconds, and they got a Hammond. Not getting there in time. But from the series we've seen where T1w have had a very much stronger showing than TSL, TSL actually have the better time bank here.
So 508, yeah, not a bad time at all. Still, both of these teams, I mean, this could very well go to one of those, you know, horizons that you see like 7-8 points on either side. So we could very well see that if both these teams manage to play momentum this well.
It's a minute and a half time bank difference. What is that? A fight, at least on a map like Horizon Lunar Colony, where you have to travel so far. So what kind of adjustments do you think T1w has to do, or was it just a case of an avalanche that they just couldn't stop?
Yeah, absolutely, you know, the latter there, because here's the thing. When you get into this situation, you can prevent it by just not dropping down and losing a body like almost immediately when you go for that drop engage. If you play a little bit safer, if you play a little bit more reserved, a little bit more defensively, try to bide your time, you can find those vulnerabilities and kind of execute upon those instead. And that not only buys you more time, but it offers you a better opportunity to take a better fight. And then you're not having those momentum issues as early as we saw in that last that last attack phase from 666 Legends. So I think they just play that differently. Don't have to play that aggressive to start out and throw Silver at the spawn basically as the spawn gates open.
It's a second attack for T1w, and yeah, I was wondering if maybe Shush went support instead of Pharah, but I'm liking this Symmetra play. This is not the first time we've seen this actually in our previous series. Teleport right towards the point. You can see that 666 Legend with the dive Sombra Goats tickle them from the high ground, and now they have to engage off of this, but this is going to be really scary.
Yeah, they have to jump into a hog too. That's going to be meeting the Winston immediately. Could hook him down as well.
And you got the extra healing of Mulan Ron. It's going to be up to Umbra to see if he can eat some of these healing orbs that are going to be bouncing around the point. TSL trying to prevent this final take from going through. They've taken out some of the front line of T1w, who seem to have had a good chance with the Symmetra teleporter, but TSL, they gave up the 2 ticks, and they'll take it right back.
Unfortunately, you kind of have to give up at least 1 tick, but probably 2 ticks in most scenarios with that composition, because you just can't dive in there, you know, without surrounding the point, getting good angles, and starting to really lay into T1w. So now we'll see T1w swap. They only have to get 1 more tick to take it. So now it's all about just kind of playing for control. You don't necessarily have to fully win a fight because you can force 666 into an awkward situation if you get onto the point and really hold it out strong.
Raphael's going to have EMP, and he drops to the low ground when T1w are actually going onto the high ground, but might want to just EMP them onto the point. That might be the best case scenario. T1w take control of the high ground, but you need to pull the trigger on this EMP before Micha gets the grab and wins the fight for T1w. And Umbra being out of mech, that's not a great start. Raphael took a little too long, but the EMP still nails everyone from T1w, who sustained for the moment and actually turned the fight into their favor.
And somehow, that was a huge advantage for TSL. They should have been able to pull that one out, but even coming out of Primal Rage, DPS is super low.
And T1w still have to make their way onto the point. They have the grab. Beach is hacked, but he'll be using it as soon as he's probably not, if he sees the opportunity. Transcendence used to engage. There's the grab from Micha, and there's Silver hammering right into it, and that will be point A for T1w.
You really actually don't want to see that from T1w in that situation. They have the Transcendence, they have the grab, they have the rally. You ideally want 2 of those at least going into this next fight, where you're going to be having some momentum, and you know that 666 doesn't have their Transcendence either. So now, how are they going to be able to take this next point?
It's got to be Raphael. Got to build that EMP as quick as you can, but it seems the fight's already shut down. Hybe does put a small dent into DPS's shield as T1w get ready to engage again. They have absolutely nothing, and now the barrier self-destruct from TSL. They're using a lot with, and it's not converting necessarily a lot of kills against T1w, who now are catching Raphael into the back. Nice hack onto Micha, but Raphael didn't have a translocator, so he gets nailed right there.
Completely different situation if they didn't have to expend all of their resources and allocate it towards point A taking. So T1w are now in yet another build phase. It might not even be an opportunity in this next fight to be able to get something going, because obviously they have still Raphael's EMP to deal with, and they need that to come out before they can find any way into this point B and wind up taking that over time.
Yeah, you got an EMP, and you got to take care of Micha, who actually just goes for the vanilla hack, looking for the finish, but Micha's not getting low at all, and now he's unhacked. Could be easily looking for a grab onto TSL, but Raphael drops down with the EMP. The second half hack onto Micha, who still hasn't died yet. No one from T1w has died from this EMP. It's been twice in a row that TSL are not seeing success from such a powerful ultimate, as the first tick is now earned from T1w. Make it a second. TSL want to take down this time bank. It's 1:40 and less left.
Yeah, that was a 6-man Sombra EMP that not only didn't find value in terms of finding kills, even though they managed to get the Zen as well, only 50 HP left on that character, you still can't find the kill, but they also didn't find any pressure. I don't think anybody even took damage in that EMP. So unfortunate for TSL that they wound up losing out with such a big impactful ult getting that value.
Well, you've had T1w who have just building momentum, and once you've let a GOATS team live for a little too long, Zarya now has to become your focus. Not only could she have grab, but she will put out the most amount of DPS and the most amount of damage mitigation with her bubbles. And Micha got hacked twice in a row, and never did he drop below half HP. So it's really up to TSL that once Raphael initiates a hack, which I think have been on the right targets, but the target calling on TSL seems to not be present.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a communication thing. 100% agree with you, because realistically speaking, Raphael is actually kind of doing the right things, especially here on Horizon Lunar Colony, and especially in that last setup where he was, yeah, constantly getting it on Micha, constantly shutting down the Zarya, giving them win conditions, big EMPs when they could, you know, really need them. And unfortunately, 666 aren't really getting much value out of it, and I think that's more of a team thing than a Raphael thing. So I really think Raphael is doing a great job. It just needs to be made sure that they actually follow up and execute off of the plays that are created.
Speaking of execute, TSL, they were the ones with a 1.5 minute extra time bank. We'll see if this pays off. T1w actually collapse on top of them. They decide to hack Illusion to take away that speed, take away that healing, and already 3 kills for T1w on this defense. And this was what paid off from them dropping down to the high ground and catching TSL off guard.
So the aggression this time works out. This time it works out. It didn't work out last time, but hey, 50-50, flip a coin, I guess. T1w gonna take advantage of that though. They're not gonna get too much, you know, ultimate economy out of that. I mean, realistically speaking, because that fight was so fast, not too much healing could come out of 666, and because of the trading back and forth, T1w, they're only barely ahead, I would say, at this stage. But the issue is here is that Raphael could keep building to that EMP. They're still gonna drop down though.
Someone help your mans. He just got pinned and DPS just died. This is not a good look. T1w have to just heal up their tanks, and they will get ready to try and hold off TSL for engaging the point, getting half of a tick. And T1w just don't even know where they are. Now looking towards the high ground, they'll meet them there.
And while DPS is still rotating, this is actually a huge opportunity for T1w to find positive delta in their ultimate economy. Try to get forward and actually start pushing out some damage, finding kills like that as well. Sober taken down, and now the rest of T1w can start building into their ultimates and come out ahead of 666. They've won these fights, but they haven't really gotten ahead in ultimate economy until this point here.
Sober is definitely having deja vu from Li Zhang when Waya bopped him like that again. We'll see. And T1w, you gotta watch out for that Zenyatta. Micha just got some energy as TSL now look to meet them onto the high ground. That's kind of the trade-off when you don't have the Winstons. You got to take the long way around. Looking to meet them there is going to be Shatter versus Shatter. Actually, the grab comes out first along with the EMP. Micha use the grab, but the Transcendence actually from Waya keeps everyone topped up as everyone presses Q at once. We'll see what kind of kills come out. It is T1w that remain the winner of this fight.
Huge plays from Waya there. He was able to Transcendence before the hack went out. So Raphael, once again, and not really a big fault of his, because the timing just didn't work out for them. But they tried to counter with the EMP. Waya easily canceled that out. He's already at 50% towards his next Transcendence as well. And if he could keep continuing to get more poke pressure out, maybe even find a pick, stall out a little bit more time, then they might have more options for Umbra's grab.
Gonna be farming up this Diva. Wow, up to 80%, and would have liked to get the EMP from that as TSL get ready to engage the point. They'll have at least a grab from Umbra that can start them off. They hold the point. Actually, Hybe gets hacked right in the middle of that as TSL use their first wave of support ultimates, the barrier, and Umbra with the grab. They start to build this momentum that they desperately need as a self-destruct from Hybe clears the point from this offensive team who look to re-engage. They're using ultimates, but not always converting these into kills. It's taking them so long to take down T1w.
Still sustaining. It's going to be T1w trying to force more ultimates out just for TSL to secure this point. But this actually is Hybe making that same mistake. Now he's going to be without mech, and they could even kill him late or just force him to have to go all the way back to spawn. And 666 are going to have everything they need to once again snowball into point B and take this one away from T1w again.
Got a bit over ambitious. They only had 2 people on the point, kind of built up a little bit slower. So Hybe's waiting for them. Again, that avalanche, that snowball that could have been created, could have gone down quicker. But TSL almost have every ultimate, or at least waiting for support ultimates, but all the important ones of a Grav EMP. But Hybe on the high ground might not get hit by that, or might be trying to eat the Grav coming up. As T1w, now they get hit by an EMP. Mainly their supports can't do anything about it. Micha can't use Grav, but as soon as he is unhacked, he will use it, but it's counter Grav by Umbra. Trades going back and forth, but this favors the defense of T1w. TSL might be able to get away with a tick, but not for long.
Yeah, they're not going to even get that 1 tick. T1w won't let that happen, and they will take Raphael out of the picture as well. So full reset now for 666 Legends. They don't even have the opportunity to keep their Sombra in there and giving them intel on setups. That's a big, big boon that Sombra provides as well. The intel that she can actually give to your teammates and tell everybody where all the setups are, where this, the Zenyatta is at as well, so that TSL can get in there and find a strategy that's going to allow them to get into the best position to deal with everybody.
Well, if a Grav EMP isn't your strategy to win, I'm a little bit worried about TSL, but at least they have support ultimates that can help them win the later fight. But they gotta win this one quick, because T1w will be coming up to their support ultimates and a Grav, and 2 down without any ultimate uses really favors T1w on this defense. A minute 24 for TSL to finish the map, or T1w will take the series.
Here's the scary thing too, 666, I mean, the only way that they can win this next fight is if they get a lot of value out of EMP, but that has been their Achilles heel. They haven't been able to do that so far, so it's tough to believe that they're going to be able to get that here. T1w with a lot of options here. All 6 ultimates going to be up in this next fight.
So many ultimates. Silver tries to make a miracle or a hero play, shatters right into a shield. Now T1w need to play together, and they need to survive this EMP. Now it's dropped from Raphael, and it's converting some kills at least better than before. Micha now throws the Grav. He's high energy. He's trying to melt away the front line, but the barrier just in time from Sober keeps TSL sustained. That is what they needed, but they've exhausted everything. If they don't get the point here, it will not happen. Less than 30 seconds left. T1w, they'd love to send this into overtime so they can actually finish Horizon Lunar Colony this year. 3 members coming out of spawn, and TSL, they're almost done.
Well, 666 Legends, they need to get this quickly. Someone keeps jumping onto the point from T1w, though. They need to finish this up, and finally they do. 9 seconds left, so they award themselves extra time, and that means, of course, extra time for the other side, T1w as well. But a stellar hold from T1w could not only even the odds, but also give them now the advantage here on Horizon.
Well, TSL had the bigger time bank. Now they have a smaller time bank. It was a struggle, but hey, we're really proud of them for finishing the map. There was Grav, EMPs, and almost every ultimate thrown on the board for several fights, and it wasn't happening. And it's a bit of insanity of trying the same thing, and you're getting the same result, but finally something clicked. And I think it was because they actually had support ultimates that once they got the few amounts of kills, they were able to sustain later on.
You could also see T1w like kind of front loading a lot of their ultimates right out of the gates. I mean, they had all 6 of them available, and you saw them using 3 almost right away, or at least 2 right away. Rally into the Earth Shatter, trying to blow everything they can to try to catch TSL off guard. They didn't do that at all with either of them. So unfortunately, those ults go right out the window. You lose out on the economy battle, and that's how TSL was eventually able to capture it, because again, even going into that fight where they did have the EMP, and we talked about how they were going to have to find value with that, they didn't really find a tremendous amount of value with it, given what you would expect, but still they're able to take the point because of the fact that they went up on eco.
Well, this has to be the final attack, but we'll see if they end up with a time bank. 2 minutes and 27, or sorry, 1 minute, less than 1 minute. I'd be surprised if they get past point A, not because of the team, but that's such little time to actually get set up as Hybe dives down and the rest of T1w collapse onto TSL, and the hack from Hybe doesn't stop him from just raining bullets into your team, and just TSL collapse like that. 30 seconds left though, and they will have another fight, hopefully.
And once again, that setup just works so well for them. And this is the danger of running the Sombra here. You have to find the D.Va and use it as an ult battery quickly, or else you'll never get the EMP, and you'll never truly have the advantage that the Sombra provides to you, because just like we talked about before, in neutral fights, Sombra isn't going to do as much as a D.Va, so you need to build to the EMP.
Bit of the same thing happening twice, diving down and pushing TSL into a corner, but they have to remember to touch the point. Someone is backcapping, and Raphael is going to duel a Lucio while the rest of his team get the job done. TSL, they're ahead in kills. They lost their main tank, but that should be fine. They're getting their second tick, and no one from T1w wants to contest that, or maybe not.
Yeah, T1w wants to learn from the mistakes on top of everything. They need to get out of this point. Leave immediately. Get set up on point B so you can defend it. That's how you were able to get things going before. You got to do that here again. Try to find Raphael quickly. Get your spy checks in. Get your D.Va into a position where they can deal with this Sombra and get her out of the fight immediately.
Hypey doesn't look like he's spy checking. No one looks like that paranoid Overwatch player just flailing around. They're not concerned with Raphael at all. He's going to be having EMP, so you should maybe be concerned. TSL need to get these support ultimates up early. They get onto the point, almost the first tickets in overtime, and TSL cannot afford to lose any members. There's the grab from the offensive team. They hammer into it along with the EMP, take away everything, and take away their lives with the Shattered. But T1w are actually still alive and well. Micha responds with his grab, and TSL will sustain with the barrier. A tick and a half here for TSL, and they're finishing off the rest of T1w, looking to finish off the map. T1w, there's no point of shaving off time banks. You just got to give it up. TSL will finish the map for the third time.
And you have to wonder now, with that take, remember now they have 6 points on the board. 6 points on the board. They ran out of time, but if things dip under that 1 minute and we see 6 points on the board for the other side, T1w, more time will be given and we'll have to see another attacking phase on point A. So this is a crazy assault map. Both these teams going back and forth, playing off of momentum and making sure that they can get the job done quickly and efficiently. Defensively, both teams really struggling though.
TSL, at least they look like they've much improved in their coordination and at least how they're layering their ultimates. The grab and EMP came out, and as soon as everyone started to break away from the grab, the Shatter comes down to CC them again. Maybe you don't need all those ultimates to kill a team. A regular team would not need EMP, grab, and a Shatter to kill a team, but TSL, all you need to do is win the fight. And if that takes 12,000 ultimates, then TSL will finish the map, sure. Now, if they can hold the defense against T1w, they can stay alive in the series.
Yeah, and you definitely have to shut this down right now. I mean, T1w has looked pretty solid on offense, and we've seen how they can adapt to different things as well. But I think here, given the fact that it is a 2-minute, 27-second time bank, you know what I would do, 666 Legend? I would actually go for, you know, like an Ashe setup or something like that. But they're going to do the opposite. They're going to continue and maintain this Sombra pick, this strategy here. They know that they have a pretty solid win condition. They've already capped both points. Only a 2-minute time bank for T1w. This is possible for them.
And it's still impressive that TSL, with 1 minute, finished the entire map in terms of got point A. 2 minutes and like that little bit of increase that T1w got is not substantial. It took almost a minute just for them to get set up on this high ground. So this needs to be the fight that they finish, or they need to lose it quick. TSL are going to just be setting up on the point waiting for them.
And they're going to just bide their time here. They want to drain as much of that as they possibly can. T1w kind of jockeying for a better position. They will get that in the form of some high ground right above the point, raining down from above, leaving their supports up there for as long as they can until finally dropping those down as well.
All right, that's one down. 6 versus 5, still winnable for TSL, but their tanks get so low. DPS and Umbra soon to be on the hit list. T1w lost their main shield, but they didn't have to use any ultimates to get this point, and that means a potential snowball to get towards point B.
Here's the issue. When you have a snowball, typically you want your most lethal ults up and ready to go. Unfortunately, TSL actually has the advantage there. They have the EMP,
yeah.
They have the Graviton as well. Though, a minute 30, T1w can rush into this fight, force those ultimates out, and then come in for round 2 and then get the cap there.
Raphael front with the EMP. Wonder where he's sneaking about. T1w on the high ground. I mean, Raphael can throw his translocator up there. But Waya needs to stay out of line of sight, maybe using the Transcendence. I have no idea. Maybe he's hiding. He's probably following the rest of the team, staying sustained. There's the EMP. It nails Waya. He's the first to fall. You needed him to have the Transcendence, and that's already a very good-looking fight for TSL, who take care of the mech from Hybe. And all kinds of split up here is T1w, so they're going to have to reset.
So they don't get the grab, but they do get both the EMP and the Shatter. Still, the support ults are there. Still, the grab is there. So T1w, they've got one shot to get in there and make this happen. They're going to need their combo. They're going to need a solid setup as well from Silver. A lot is going to actually rest on both their Brigitte and their Reinhardt to find an opening for the rest of the team and win out this battle.
Hey, you don't have the self-destruct combo ready yet, and Hybe's hacked on top of that. Grab his throne. You don't even need a self-destruct, but it's not enough damage without it, so the Transcendence from Shush heals the defensive team. T1w used their barrier earlier, so now they have no more support ultimates, so they need to win the fight here. Shatter from Silver clears a lane, but TSL, they're holding back, they're responding. It's traced back and forth. Are you kidding me? TSL are just wiping the floor with past season champions of T1w. Overtime will dwindle away, and TSL, after so many rounds, will stay alive in this series.
Oh man, 11 total points scored there. That is insane. 666 Legends get the job done though, and now we have a map up for 666 Legends here. That's 2-1 in favor of T1w still, but we're talking about, you know, coming back out of the half. 666 find a way to get in, find a way to get, you know, into the standings as well. This is the first step towards it right here.
LaFon, TSL, can you even believe they just pulled that off?
At the beginning of HLC, I would have said no, but towards the end of it, I have to. Raphael, I think one of the things we were talking about in King's Row especially is setups, right? Execution. Staging is a lot of the part of getting Sombra to work. And I think TSL actually made it a lot easier on Raphael. Heurix, you said it. He isn't playing that badly in terms of mechanical play. I don't think his positioning is that bad either. But, you know, when it comes down to it, T1w rather was giving him the business, so to speak, on the previous two maps. He couldn't set up, he couldn't play where he wanted to, he was constantly getting poked out. And now on HLC, he's able to take the routes that he wants to, he gets the EMP timings that he wants to, and I think, honestly, I don't recall seeing a bad EMP from him at any point on HLC. And that's pretty impressive considering the fact that it looks almost like, you know, TSL hasn't really changed their playstyle at all. So the fact that they're able to get him in for setup positions for the EMP so they can continue the snowball. I mean, we all know how Assault goes sometimes, but TSL made the most of it when they had the opportunity to.
Well, here we were talking, thanks Lafana. TSL, we talked about how much they've improved throughout Lunar Colony, which was a mini-series on its own. Umbra was going head-to-head with Michia, a veteran player, and it felt like they were using their ultimates more effectively. But what I wanted to note is that T1w's support ultimates, I think, were the key to their demise. They used them so early in the fight that at least TSL had some left over, and they were able to win the later war.
Yeah, they were super aggressive with their support ults, and honestly, a lot of times it was their Transcendence starting fights off as well, which is, you know, definitely something that you see some teams doing, but you have to get aggressive behind it, and you have to make sure that you still have answers for things that the enemy is gonna counter with, namely the EMP. They weren't ready for a lot of the counter EMPs that Raphael threw out, and that can become a huge problem for sure.
And I wonder when they're gonna start spy checking, or do you think that they should try and suppress Raphael in some kind of way?
Yeah, you gotta, if you're gonna have the D.Va on the board and you're gonna throw out that ult battery, given the 2-second timer on DM and the fact that you have to throw the biggest thing at your disposal to go over there, I mean, you gotta start having that player check the D.Va or check the Sombra in some way.
Yeah, to follow up on Heurix, I will say, I'll answer your question with a question. Should you wear a coat in the middle of winter? And the answer is the same for both.
Well, the comeback is real. TSL will take a map off of Champions of T1w. We'll see if they can send themselves into a Game 5, or if T1w will put their pants on and close it out here. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Contenders China, can you believe it? Underdog of TSL taking a map off of previous champions T1w, who looked like a favorite, talked about being a grand finalist or at the top of the standings, and TSL turned things around on Lunar Colony.
Yeah, they do it in such a big way too, being able to finish out, close out that map, and do so with that Sombra as well. The thing that has been a little bit of a struggle so far for them. I think they've really kind of lost the ability to focus with that Sombra, then now they've regained that. They've been able to do a lot more with the EMPs, and they've built things up quite nicely with the Sombra as well.
Assassin will be coming in for Michia. So I've noticed that in week 1, Michia and Assassin, I think, subbing in and out. Michia will play game 2, 3, and 5, and I think he's been substituted in and out. So Assassin will be picking up the Zarya role, at least that's what Michia played.
Yeah, it definitely likely that he plays a Zarya here. I would say, you know, that's probably what they're going to go for. Although, certainly, just like Michia, you have someone that can play a ton of different things. We saw him on Mei, we saw him on Widow, we saw him on Ashe, as well as the Zarya. So there's a lot of different things that could potentially come out here as we move into this next map. And, you know, a map like Junkertown, this is where you do want versatility. You do want those options available to you. It's likely they're probably bringing him in for the Widow, actually, or, you know, Widow, Ashe, something like that. You know, one of those long-range threats that Assassin is quite good at.
Absolutely. Milanron and Assassin played Hanzo and Widow, a double sniper dive previously, at least on Gibraltar. So on a map for Escort, this could easily be replicated on Junkertown. So the double sniper, very, very solid on that map. Or maybe they'll just stick to goats and debate me, but very possible scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wouldn't be surprised to see if you're right, to be honest. I mean, double sniper would be not that crazy from T1w, especially given the substitution that they just put in for Assassin. Certainly, you know, double sniper as well as even more DPS, that could be very well the case. As I mean, this really is completely up in the air here. I do think that Assassin is here to run the Widow, though. That's what I think. You bring him in for that specific reason. Otherwise, you would probably just keep Michia in, I would think.
Possibly. And what I've noticed, we talked at the beginning of the series about how I thought these comps are going to be centered around LRC as the hit skin, the Ashe or the McCree. That's what they ran a lot in week 1, and they actually have been centering around Raphael, who plays the Sombra, and I think it's been working out well. It's surprising that TSL are running the same thing, and it's slowly working against T1w instead of maybe them adapting to it.
Look at this aggressive defense here, going for that cart contest early on. Double sniper, though, out as Shush is also on the Bastion. So if they can get set up here, T1w are going to have a little bit of a struggle on their hands, but looks like they're not going to concede all too much early on. But still, Shush on the payload, ready to cart surf.
And we just talked about T1w doing the double sniper, and then it's TSL that do the double sniper, and they throw in a Bastion on top of that. But that's so much healing that Sober has to do and fly around. So far not working out, so we're not going to see a res opportunity back in spawn. So you really got to see TSL find these shots, but if Silver keeps his shield up, it's going to be hard to find a target.
This might sound weird, you know, to hear it, and it certainly sounds weird to say it out loud, but I actually really like this 3-3 defense when you play it here, because you can force 3 different fights when you play 3-3 on this map defensively, and that just means more time off the clock.
Dislodging them from the high ground is a good start. TSL try to get their foot on the cart. Silver's low, so you already see T1w don't want to be too aggressive. They want to heal up first, but T1w coming up to a trance, they could easily engage with this. They seem to like these preemptive attacks. As TSL back to their Sombra goes, they're just going to do what they're at their best at.
And they're going to try to take some high ground so they can drop down, but Silver gets exposed and gets taken down.
Oh, the barrier at the last minute. It's a 1-to-1 trade, 5 versus 5. Now 5 versus 4 is the offense loses their main source of shielding, and that's just not a fight that TSL want to continue with.
So T1w, they take that fight. 2 minutes are already off the clock, and 666 on the other hand, they've managed to build up an EMP here from Raphael. Again, execution is key when you're talking about the EMP follow-up. I mean, T1w have been pretty good about answering back and getting out of away from the danger, the threat once the EMP comes out. So we'll have to see if 666 can force themselves in.
They force them into a grab, a self-destruct from Hybe. They try to go for the setup. They do separate and take out Umbra again. You need to take out that Zarya when they, well, not only close to grab, they start getting energy. They're kind of a pain in the butt. So TSL have lost half of their team, and they've just been stuck at the same point.
This next fight should be theirs, though. I mean, on paper, it should be theirs. Things don't always work out like that. We've already seen that in these matchups today as well, where, you know, on paper, things make sense, and then all of a sudden they play out and they don't. But Raphael gets caught. Nice right click from Wyatt to push him out of the fight initially.
Okay, so there's so many ultimates. It's going to look like a lot of pretty colors pretty quick, but this is TSL's chance to turn it around. EMP, grab, shatter, pick your poison. They're looking to just maximize their objective time. T1w, they meet them there. There's the EMP, drops on top, and the shatter combines with it, but why is there with the Transcendence? So this might be a very hairy situation for DPS, who goes in further, but the Transcendence not lasting long enough for the pain train of TSL to run them over.
TSL relying on the EMP here, though. So if that becomes a little bit of a crutch for them, and it doesn't necessarily mean at this point that it has become one, but if it does, that could spell disaster. I mean, T1w are stalling this card out continuously. I mean, very consistent about their approach, and Raphael caught out again, not going to be able to build up his ult charge in the meantime, and that's a signal for T1w to get aggressive here.
Why? I mean, the point is capped, the spawn is there, and now your Lucio, okay, he's gonna speed them out, but that
ult charge, hell yeah, definitely gonna work out for you. So
just
we are gonna be seeing T1w. I mean, what they want to do here is pull out. You know, they already got their little bit of ult charge, particularly on their Reinhardt. So now he does have that Earth Shatter. They're gonna play up on the high ground, and they can drop down the same way they did on Horizon.
Could be dropping down into DPS's Shatter. You need to be careful, as I think it was Silver that dropped it down first. He gets hacked, and that's just almost I thought that would be instant death, but Illusion is there with the barrier on top of that. But look at this, TSL are the ones that are, well, I was gonna say coming out ahead, but Assassin is so high energy, he'll just carry in the DPS department.
So I mean, you bring him in to probably play Widow, but you know, comes out on defense and he's an actual assassin on the Zarya. I mean,
yeah,
definitely meeting the expectations that Michia presents when you come into a roster, and playing pretty well here. But EMP back on the table for Raphael. And remember, they won their last fight based off of that. Now they'll have to see if they can do that again, and they need it. Only 140 on the clock here for the second point.
And where's Waya? He's gonna have Transcendence, so he needs to make sure he has that EMP on him. But they'll start with Umbra's grab, and the counter shatter from Silver gets everyone down. As they try to follow up, Raphael comes in with point B, but half of his team is dead. That was such a bad EMP.
Yeah, that one was not good. He's been pretty good about them, you know, as of late, throughout Horizon, and then into his first one here on Junkertown. They were really solid. That one was less than solid. We'll leave it at, I think, because, you know, yeah, everybody on this team was dying. He tried to counter. It was just too late at that stage. The Transcendence had already kept everybody alive, been up from T1w. So TSL, they're going to be able to push here, but T1w, they will be able to drop down, especially with this grab down as well.
Yeah, there's no pressure to eat that grab, and everyone drops down and sends TSL right back to spawn. So that'll be a quick reset, but you're down to less than 45 seconds. TSL got to get to point B. This is just not a lot of distance from them on the offense.
Now only 35 seconds remain here for this attack to even continue. You have the support ultimates coming up. You have the Earth Shatter. Not a whole lot more than that. And I don't know, I mean, with the high ground control that T1w can continuously take, I mean, definitely 666 has to do something about that. So they are going to be doing just that. They are going to steal away the high ground, force this fight into this doorway, but T1w can hold it out. Good luck getting through that.
They can. Good luck. DPS has a shot or two, but if Silver keeps hammering away, he's going to have one too, as couple seconds left. TSL spent so much time getting to the high ground, and that didn't really convert any sort of value for them. Self-destruct sent back. If it's stunned, thank God there was a bubble on DPS. He could have died from that. TSL just trying to get a good position onto the cart. As Silver backs up, he's looking to slam down the shatter. Gets everybody. Oh my goodness. T1w wiping the floor with TSL, who will not be able to finish Junkertown. Now T1w even had leftover ultimates, man. They're looking way more energized.
Yeah, they look much better than they did on Horizon, and now we'll see. I mean, they even had a beat coming out of that for free. They could have even used that to secure that. So definitely looking really solid, answering back, using actually the geometry of the map very well as well. I mean, utilizing the high ground, taking those drop engages like we saw in Horizon Point A that they did pretty well except for their first defense. So thinking that they want to continue this pressure, I think that, you know, again, Assassin coming in, I would expect to see Widow, but I don't know, maybe they just go back to the 3-3 given the fact that they don't have to really go that far. They don't have too much distance to cover.
I think when you're just in a possible situation of you could come back, do you risk going anything else? You had a team that just took a map off of you. You could possibly go to a game 5. It's one of those, can we just go goats, man? Can we just, one more time, bro, please? Just one map win, please, bro? Close it out, close it out. And what I think my silver lining was Silver on the Reinhardt. He hit, I believe, multiple 6-man shatters that won them the fight. And this was not something we've seen from him from the series. I'm not saying he's bad, it's just both Reinhardts were head-to-head, and Silver has been finding these opportunities, and that's where I think T1w are getting the edge.
Yeah, especially when you consider the fact that, you know, most of those plays are going to come from the team with the Sombra because the EMP enables a massive shatter to come out. And that's when we saw Silver really popping on King's Row, is when they had the Sombra and their Sombra was kind of outplaying Raphael a little bit, I would say. You know, those opportunities were certainly coming to T1w a lot more often, but he's still finding them here on Junkertown regardless. So I guess I was right. Double sniper coming out, Assassin to come through on the Widow, and they're gonna go right through with it. Also bringing in Wyatt on the Hog as well, so triple tank still in play.
So you don't have that graviton finisher move though, and that's could be concerning. TSL already taken out the main shield of T1w, so now that's a lot of pressure on Hybe, and the snipers just have to scatter. But with this crossfire, they could easily find a shot onto the supports, so Sober and Shush have to just be really careful.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of time before LemonKiwi just finds a kill, because with this Hanzo setup, I mean, with this positioning, it's they could just take pot shots, whittle them down. Chip damage is going to get the job done over time. So eventually this Widow or this Hanzo will get the damage they need.
Well, nothing so far happening as T1w did match, or they're surviving for the moment. TSL have to reset yet again. A res goes through to save Silver. And T1w, yeah, they'll take some time, but the yellow box of victory is halfway to beat.
Yeah, especially if they can get this around the bend quickly and then just use the Dragon Strike actually to just kind of hold out the choke, maybe even cut 666 Legend in half and then take the fight that way. They can force their Roadhog and D.Va forward, put some pressure on whoever gets cut off from the rest of their backline, and they can force the engage that way, take Assassin into a different angle. Now where the fight is very much more open, the double sniper is going to have a lot more of an effect.
Interesting that Silver's setting his shield up away from the rest of the team, and you want to maybe set up on the cart, try and protect the rest of your supports as well. The high ground advantage only for the moment. Assassin finds Raphael. It's a good start, and 666 Legend holding on to their Transcendence. Hybe finds a kill into the back. This is looking great for T1w, who are looking to finish point A lot faster than TSL did.
And this is where you utilize that Orisa ult, you cap the point, and then you run straight on back. And they are not doing that. I guess what they're going to try to do here instead is take the high ground. They feel pretty confident in their sniper setup. They could even take the kill here on Raphael if LemonKiwi will just land one arrow. They could solidify that. Luckily, Assassin will get the job done for him. So,
but now you have your snipers on the high ground. This will look really good for this this offense.
This is going to be tough to take.
And TSL now have to retake, and they have to really shield their supports because they're going to have barrier, they're going to have trans, and that's what's going to allow TSL to win this fight.
Yeah, often you would go Winston, and you would just be able to, you know, kind of push for the snipers, but instead they're going to go for the high ground hold, and that will probably signal TSL to actually want to go up to the high ground and push them, and just use their ultimates to push them off.
So many ultimates left over. The grab actually from Raphael. It looked like he was comboed with LemonKiwi's Dragon Strike, but slowly T1w are using every ultimate they have, and now the Valkyrie is gone. TSL, can they hold on to this point? This is their last chance. 3 minutes and 20. T1w have many chances. 666 Legend have 0.
Yeah, I think that stage right there, you want to use the Dragon Strike to actually peel the point and then just shove the payload in for free. Anybody that wants to contest it has to take pressure, but now 666 Legends looks like they're going to be able to defend here.
Slowly but surely, it looks so back and forth. There's plenty of members alive from both teams. T1w, though, they start turn things around as Umbra and Raphael get a few kills as a Dragon Strike just cuts the payload in half, and that won't do anything.
Yeah, so the first one, you got the point, you know, you threw it up on top of the stairs to keep your team safe away from the grav, but then the second one you threw out, everybody was already dead. You need to make the swaps I was talking about before now. There's no way you're going to be able to get in there and do that with the double sniper at this stage. They already have set up, you know, 666 Legends is already set up with the high ground hold. They have tons of ultimates. Now you have 2.5 minutes. You use up a lot of time in that last fight, and now you have to get control of high ground early.
Oh, this is a high ground battle, and the grab is thrown out from Raphael, and no self-destruct from Umbra did come out, but they're trying to win this fight out vanilla style, and TSL have cut down the T1w in so many ways. 2 minutes left for T1w to push in the box of victories right there.
Oh, they're going to stall Hybe out so hard, too. Now down under 2 minutes. Assassin got ripped apart. I mean, basically at the beginning of the fight. So, I mean, at some stage, they're going to need something to turn these fights and swing them back in their favor, because 666 are in a constant building phase when they're just getting kills like this and not having to expend much of their resources. So T1w, it's going to take time for them to get there, and once they do, they have to make sure that they execute flawlessly.
All TSL have to do is hold this cart. You don't have to push too far and make too many mistakes. They use the rally. T1w just wait it out. They don't have any ultimates, but they can't spend too much time. They have about a minute left. Umbra's gonna have self-destruct, sends it towards the back, zones them out. And DPS could have pinned Silver to set that up a little bit better, but now TSL are in so deep, and Silver's gonna have a shatter. Can he land one? He'll get the brig. Transcendence can't heal through that, and a responding shatter. This is so many ultimates. Raphael, this needs to be a huge grab, but look at this. T1w just laser away TSL. TSL were looking like they were gonna send this into a game 5 against our Season 3 champions of T1w, but they got their act together. They push it to the yellow box of victory, and here we are, 3-1 victory for T1w.
I mean, in that last fight, I was holding my breath the whole time, and then I realized at the very end that I just hadn't breathed for forever. That was so close. TSL had such a good shot, actually, to just get us into that map number 5. Unfortunately, just a little bit short at the end there, and I mean, honestly, just another stellar play from Silver to give them just a tiny bit of an edge.
Lafon, TSL have been looking brighter and brighter as the series go on. Were you at least impressed by this defense they held on for quite a while?
Yeah, no, I actually was really impressed, and I thought that last fight was a really good rotation for them. Just a tiny bit greedy at the very end, and T1w is that team you don't want to be greedy against because they will punish it. But sometimes you need to be cocky. You need to be a little bit in that driver's seat when it comes to playing the game, and I thought TSL, they went for victory, and it cost them, but that's okay because you need to have sort of that attitude. And I think for TSL, this is not the same team we saw last week. I think if you watch this game and you watch the previous game, you'd agree on every point that is the case, because they immediately, like, it's a 180 in my opinion, in terms of coordination, in terms of execution, in terms of understanding what playstyle they want to play. And I think for most of this match, outside that first map on Control, I thought that they played their style, and it just ended up with T1w playing a counter style against it, and it was kind of both teams hammering away at each other. It was a very good match to watch, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, think about the way that we started this too. I mean, where we started off, you know, expecting that single DPS. We probably expected a little bit more from LRC, but unfortunately thrown into Brig Jail for all of today. But either way, you know, we still got to see a progression throughout the course of the day, where we saw, you know, at the beginning, a little bit of some lessened impact, especially from the EMP department. When Raphael would throw those out, then Raphael was really kind of figuring things out. He was getting into really good positions, getting off good EMPs, building them up at a decent rate, and then slowly but surely his team started to follow up better and better and better as well. I mean, this is a team 666 Legend that I expect to go forward in the group stage and actually get quite a bit better. And I don't expect them to finish, you know, bottom 1 or 2 as we finish.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, the marker today was the tank line, both sides, main tank versus main tank. It was a good show. I think Silver 3 had the edge just a little bit more often, but DPS was definitely in his element, and oftentimes was playing a little bit arrogantly, I would say, but in a good way. Not as a, that's not a slight against him whatsoever. He felt that he was in control of a couple of the plays, went for earth shatters, went for big plays, and you need to see that from your main tank. So I thoroughly enjoyed watching those two go at each other, quite literally hammer and tongs.
I think DPS, I've got to say it, he's the reason. He's the reason for TSL. If he would have pinned Silver when the self-destruct would have went in, that would have blown up all of them. So if he missed that pin, that would have been the fight over. Then that would have maybe got to a 30-second fight where who knows what would have happened. And or if he would have blocked Silver's shatter at the end, if Silver wouldn't have 6-man shattered his team, that could have been a winnable fight for them. So those were two key plays.
Counter to that, though, there's a Brigitte. You charge in. That's an easy way to get stunned up and dead and be killed up. And to the thing about the shatter, he hit a shatter of his own. So, I mean, yes, you are correct. Those are two fight-win conditions, but just as easily you can show the opposite side of that and see kind of where his thought process was. So, yeah, the playmaking would have been nice, but I think you can understand why ultimately the fight went the way it did. And credit to T1w. You know, this is a team that after a 6-5 loss on HLC, teams can be demoralized. They didn't look at all. They walk back into Junkertown and take
Maybe
it.
tired.
Yeah, that might be one, but for sure they take the Junkertown pretty convincingly, I think.
I think it's still legendary that TSL took a map off of T1w. I think they're just going to get better as the weeks go on. They still will be 0-2, but almost going to a Game 5 against champs of T1w is still an amazing accomplishment. But that will be the end of our matches today. But hey, don't go anywhere. We actually have more Overwatch coming on this channel. European Open Division will be going live as soon as we go offline. So don't go anywhere. But if you're actually here for some Chinese Overwatch, we will be live tomorrow at 5 a.m. Eastern. We'll have Guangzhou Academy versus Team CC, Alter Ego versus LGD Gaming, and Lingon versus Lucky Future. Tons of more Overwatch, whether you want to watch it right now or tomorrow morning. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to LaFon, Heurix, our producer Bradley, and everyone at Broadcast GG to make this happen. We'll see you guys tomorrow or in a few minutes.